Charles Davis is going to be part of the NFL Network draft coverage all 3 days, all 270 some odd picks alongside with me, and I absolutely adore you, Charles Davis, and I'm so psyched that we're doing this. What is this? Is this year 16, 17 for you at the NFL Network draft now?
I think 18.
18.
I think 18 because 2007 was my first. I was in the rafters in Radio City Music Hall. Was 07 Brady Quinn, Ted Ginn?
I think that was 06, right? Wasn't it that?
Whatever it was, that was my first one.
That was Roger Goodell's first draft.
That was my first one.
And we keep talking about the Brady Quinn draft. I remember that for the fact that
19.
That Roger was watching Brady Quinn drop in the draft.
07.
07. So that's what 07.
So 07 was my first one, and he was watching him drop, and that was the first time the commissioner's office took charge.
Yes.
And said, we're not going to let a kid sit there and watch.
He put him in his green room. Put him in the
commissioner's room.
Where there's no cameras.
Away from cameras.
Yep.
Which was one of the great moves and one of the most compassionate, empathetic things a person could do. I still remember Leland McElroy. Electric Leland. Mm-hmm. All sat there, no one drafted, by himself in the room. We saw that before. It may be great theater for TV. It's not great for those people.
No, but in the long run, though, because we've been talking about this quite a bit lately with Shedeur Sanders. Yep. Where's he going to go? Where's he going to drop? And, I keep saying if he drops all the way down to the 20s, guess what? Ask Lamar Jackson how that felt being 32nd overall. Ask him how he feels with sitting on top of all those stacks and 2 MVP awards and had a chance for a third this year with a shot at the Super Bowl every single year for an organization that just keeps on adding and winning. How's he liking that right now?
Short-term pain.
Yeah.
Monster game.
Monster.
And an organization that had a plan for him before they selected him. When you sit back and talk to that Ravens organization, you talk to Ozzie Newsome, you talk to Eric DeCosta, you talk to John Harbaugh. They discussed that long ahead of time, and not just do we take Lamar if there's an opportunity. What would we do if we did take him? Like, they were designing already offense, style of play, what they were going to do. I give the Ravens a ton of credit. It wasn't just the idea, okay, let's go get a quarterback at the 5th year. Ozzie makes that. So that was Ozzie's last one, Ozzie Newsome. It was they had a full plan that if we do take him, we have a vision of what we want to do, and that vision's been pretty good.
Well, I mean, and they benched Flacco the next year, and they had that plan ready.
Playoff game against the Chargers.
They were not running the Flacco offense with Lamar. They completely changed it midstream.
That's what he had.
And when that happened, you remember the corker of an argument on our set?
Oh God, yeah.
When I was wondering, well, does this mean the end of Flacco?
Yeah.
And Mayock called that low-hanging fruit. and then 2 days later, that was on Thursday night. Then 2 days later, we're outside on the set, outside of the Jones Mahal.
Yeah.
And Flacco refused to talk to the media at the Ravens draft event. And that's when I looked at Mike. I'm like, you tell me I'm way off. And then we had an argument to the point where people were going on Twitter at the time.
Are they okay?
You remember that?
Yes, I remember it.
Man, we had some moments.
It was healthy debate.
I thought it was healthy.
But it goes back to what we were talking about. That Ravens organization, John Harbaugh and his staff, had a plan that if we're going to take him and he's going to be our quarterback, we have a plan in place about how we're going to play. Because you're right, they did change midstream. They had to. You're not going to run the same offense for Joe Flacco that you're going to run for Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. They already were ahead of the game in planning for it. They didn't just go, Greg, because it was Greg Roman at the time. Greg, we're going to start Lamar. You got to put in some new stuff. Already had it.
They had it.
They had it before they ever drafted him. Now they just put it in place and put it into action. And by the way, the guy who really brought them Lamar Jackson is a scout named DeJuan Jones, who now is player personnel. I can't remember what team DeJuan's with now. He was the first to jump on the table for the Ravens and say, guys, this is the guy, and start moving people in that direction.
Charles Davis here on the Rich Eisen Show. You came up with one final mock draft?
I did, and I guess it dropped today.
Well, this is in advance of you and DJ hosting DJ's final mock draft tonight on NFL Network. And again, let me make sure I get this correct. That's tonight on NFL Network.
Yes.
And so let's review your work. And we actually have a drop. We've been doing this for multiple mock drafts. Yeah, we mock it like a hurricane. Check it out.
Mock, yeah.
It's time to mock you like a hurricane.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's our drop.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's put it up here, Charles. Cam Ward's #1 overall. I am sure, and I know your previous mock drafts had Shedeur going #2.
Yeah, I just flipped them in my first two mocks. I had Shedeur 1 to Tennessee in my first one. I had Cam #1 in my second one, and this time it's going to be drastically different in terms of that. And I've already gotten a couple of calls from people who know way more than I do about this.
Yes.
Who have called me names that, thank goodness, my mother's not here to hear.
Well, you know what?
And they have really, really questioned my intellect in a big way. And I get it. I absolutely get it. And it's mainly about the quarterback position.
So this is amazing because I have not seen your mock draft until this very moment. Yeah. I did my Come At Me mock draft, which every single year I do it on the Wednesday. We have the same top 6. I think Pete's taking Jalen Walker. I think he's definitely taken Jalen Walker. Certainly if Ashley's off the board of Jacksonville, 1,000,000%. That just... Pete loves his edge rushers. He loves his pass rushers. He loves that NASCAR package, and it doesn't matter that you've already got Max Crosby and Christian. You
can't have enough.
You can't, and so I think he does do that. I think the Jets go and get Membu. You think it's Tyler Warren?
Yeah, I went there, and it's more of I hate to use the term gut feeling. I had a mentor, Bob Barrett, the Hammer, former FBI agent, used to say, you can't do gut feelings. He said, if you investigate with a gut feeling, you're just going to make all the evidence fit your gut. You're not really doing it right. Mm-hmm. So I don't use gut feeling. I'm just remembering last year, I thought the Jets might go tight end at 10.
I thought Brock Bowers was
right, and Brock Bowers was sitting there. Brock Bowers, we let the league let him go to 13, and now he's first team All-Pro. He was really wide receiver 1 for them. I'm wondering if a team like the Jets goes, we just got Justin, quarterback's best friend, especially young quarterback, is a tight end. Let's give it to him and let's go there. So let's just see. We'll find out.
And Membu goes to the Saints. Mykel Williams to the Bears.
And remember in those first 10, Shaduer Sanders is a possibility at 2, Cleveland, 3, the Giants, 9 for sure with New Orleans. But to me, the wild card is still, you're right about Pete, but the wild card is still Las Vegas. Because quarterback Geno, quarterback in waiting Shedeur. There's possibilities of it. I'm not saying he's going there, but if you see the spots where he could possibly go, he could easily still go in the top 10. I didn't put him there, but there's landing points for him, and we haven't even talked about people trading and moving yet.
Yeah, I know, and I
don't do trades in mine.
They're so tough
not that
to
good.
Figure that one out. I mean, DJ's the one who's just like, I think the Houston Texans are going to trade back up after they take.
DJ should wear an eye shade.
Right?
And have what are these things? Remember when he used to have the things tied up on your arms? DJ can wheel and deal, and he nailed all that.
When he nailed the Texans taking Stroud at 2 and then trading back up,
called it
3rd overall.
Called a shot. He Babe Ruth in the 32 series.
And so let's check out some of the rest of your work. Charles Davis, moving onward. You like Shamar Stewart going to.
Went traits on that one much more than production.
You Tet McMillan as a Cowboy. You like that.
Yeah, I mean, that almost is central casting if they can't get Ashton Genty.
Okay, and Will Johnson obviously is a pick that I would see coming. Certainly, if Jalen Ramsey is going out the door, you put Will Johnson.
And there's also possibly safety there if you think about it for the Dolphins. Remember, Javon Holland is no longer there.
Nick Eamon-Wari would go to the Colts.
Yeah, Lou Anarumo would be ecstatic on that.
Derek Harmon, a defensive tackle, going to Atlanta. Jahad Campbell lasting all the way to 16. You think Malachi Starks? I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals jump and take him. Jesse Bates went to Atlanta a couple of years ago, and if you don't want to see him in purple,
no,
everybody's putting Malachi Starks to the Ravens.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
You might as well have him help Joe Burrow by getting Joe Burrow back on the field rather than picking off Joe Burrow.
And Starks does play like a Raven. I mean, that's exactly he's the epitome of that. But I had him going to Cincinnati there, and there's a lot of talk about Cincinnati with their defensive front as well.
Jahdae Barron going to Seattle. That's
now you can just take Devin Witherspoon, make him your full-time nickel. You get Reek Woolen back on task. You got Barron outside, and off you go.
Ezeraku for Boston College to Tampa, and then Omarion Hampton to Denver. Boy, I know Broncos fans would just lose their minds over that.
Fit. Done.
Okay, so we haven't heard
kind of how it works.
We haven't heard Shaduer Sanders' name. Let's check out to see if you think he does land in Pittsburgh, and you don't. You think they go Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, and then Colston Loveland gets reunited with Jim.
Yeah, and
after that.
This is why it gets really dicey, because I don't do trades, and I would not be surprised at all if he doesn't go in the top 10. Shedeur, if any of those teams don't grab him there. The trade back into the first round is what I'm anticipating. And that's for him and for the guy that I started this whole thing with a lot of caused a little bit of consternation, Jackson Dart.
So, yeah, I mean, we're looking at the rest of this.
I've got one quarterback.
Yeah, Matthew Golden to Houston, Ibuka to the Rams. We could just run down the list here, but you don't have Shedeur as a first rounder. You don't have Jackson Dart as a first rounder. Is that because you don't do trades?
I don't do trades because I'm anticipating them not going at the top where people are thinking. Would not surprise me at all for people to come back in. And I just did my annual Pound the Table article.
Sure. Okay.
Guys, I'll pound the table.
Go for it.
My first one off the list is Shedeur Sanders. Okay, I would pound the table for Shedeur Sanders. I think that he gets all the benefits of being a Sanders, and he's had that since he was born, which is great. But the vitriol and the other side that comes at him, I don't think people can actually fully grasp. There are so many people that have this antipathy, this. I'd love to see Deion fail.
He's heard that for 40 years.
He's heard it for 40 years, but now here comes his son. And his son is coming, and he's getting some of that as well. There are a lot of people who love to see him go in and not play well just because I don't like this and I don't like that. That's something that I don't know that people understand, because it's one thing to get benefits. Oh, well, he's getting everything. To have people kind of wall you off as well, that's a whole nother battle. And he's been fighting that one, and he's comfortable with it. He's dealt with it. That's why I pound the table for him, because I just don't think a kid like that is going to fail.
Well, he's
going to figure it out.
People have said that Shedeur walled them off in some of the interviews because that might be the Deion approach of like, where are you drafting? Like, you're interested in drafting me? I'm not interested in you.
Well. I don't be, and maybe all of that is true. Also know that when people do that, come at you like that your entire life, you are also going to make sure you put up your own guardrails as well. Look, who am I to play Freud? All I know is he's a very talented football player. He plays the game from the pocket, maybe the best out of any of these quarterbacks that are in this draft. Our colleague Bucky Brooks, I think, does a fantastic job evaluating quarterbacks. And multiple times in the last 5 to 7 years, he's correctly forecast a quarterback that most of us had second, Bucky's had first. Most recent being C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a short-term, smaller sample, but so far C.J. Stroud's winning that battle.
I agree.
Bucky's nailed it on that. I'm trying to think of, I can't remember another one, but there's another one he had where he picked the other quarterback ahead of the one that was consensus. In this draft, his number one quarterback is Shedeur Sanders. So I always tell people, I'm listening to Bucky a lot of the time because he tends to get it right. He may not be in my first round because, and believe me, I've heard about it already from different people. I don't do the trades. I'm anticipating these trade backs, and I'm anticipating the teams at the top, a Cleveland, a New York, a New Orleans, being factors in those trade backs into the first round. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, remember I said Dart at 3? Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, what is wrong with you? Are you crazy? If Dart goes to the Giants, I don't care what number, I had that feeling early. I just didn't stay with it.
Well, not third overall.
Not third overall. But I didn't.
You got Abdul Carter,
overall.
Man. I mean,
you're sitting there. You don't turn down the better players.
You put him with Brian Burns. You put him with Kayvon Thibodeau. You put him on that team. It's not a bad choice, man. And then you could trade back in and get Dart.
Oh,
then suddenly you're leaving Thursday night feeling much better.
Now you're off and running, and it seems to fit because I think Dart and Brian Daboll are a really nice fit. But Kellen Moore is going to need a quarterback in New Orleans. Cleveland obviously needs a quarterback. it'd be very interesting how it plays out.
For sure. Well, we always keep track of alma maters on our draft set. It looks like Joel Klatt is going to win that battle in this year's draft.
Yeah, he's got a really nice run.
He's got that working.
Depth.
And then I think, though, we're going to get a couple Wolverines before we hear James Pierce's name called, right?
Because most of us have had Pierce as a first rounder. I think as we've gotten closer, I've not seen him as much. I didn't even put him in the first round.
Interesting.
On this one.
Well, then
that'd be interesting to see what happens. But you're right. And don't forget with Joel with Colorado, Rich.
Yeah.
He's got depth this year. This isn't just Travis and Shedeur. All right, LeJontay Wester, right?
Jimmy Horn.
Jimmy
He's
Horn.
going to get drafted.
He's got another. He's got a third receiver.
I'm just talking first, but these are all before we hear a single person called from Appalachian State.
Well, DJ can jump in on a couple because I think he's got a couple transfers.
It doesn't matter.
No, that doesn't work.
It doesn't matter. Incarnate, wait till we find out. We say Incarnate Word has had somebody drafted before anyone, obviously, because that's where Cam Ward started his career.
Wait till we say Middlebury.
The question is, so do we have a puppy showing up on the set peeing on DJ before we even hear an Appalachian State player be named?
I'm taking the puppy. I'm absolutely taking the puppy. But yeah, listen, when Middlebury goes, who do any of us get to claim Middlebury when Thomas the Tank Perry?
Whatever you want to do.
If Thomas the Tank Perry goes, we've got to find someone. There's going to be someone in the crowd that went to Middlebury.
There are very few people who are masters of information that makes no sense that they have at the tip of their fingers that can be in my area code, and you surpass me, sir.
No, I do not surpass.
No, you do.
I just want to get
you know more useless information than I've ever even
now
forgotten.
Somehow I could turn that useless into useful.
Oh, you always do. That's your superpower.
Then I've got something.
That's your superpower, sir. One of your many.
Oh, bless you.
Thanks for coming on. I'm very excited to do this again with you, man. I wouldn't want to do it without you.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for you doing that with us and leading us and coaching us and guiding us and being our QB. I won't even cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry, Rich. We're not gonna cry.
I already saw the Run Rich Run feature. And
I'll cry then.
It gets me dusty every year. Although I will tell you this, we do have Todd Gurley running the first 40 of his life.
Yeah,
because he never ran one. He never ran one. At Georgia, he was hurt going to the draft. He ran the first 40 of his life, and
no way.
I will tell you as a preview that people will be talking about it.
I cannot wait.
He ran at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
I cannot.
He still looks like.
He was great. He couldn't have been better. And then, it'll get dusty.
Well, anyway, continue. Congratulations to you and the show.
Thank you.
You guys are outstanding.
You're the man. That's Charles Davis right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.